Subscribe or not, it's your choice. Subscribe, not subscribe, whatever. Remember, I do not upload videos like every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday, or any of that. I just shoot a video and then I will upload it. If you want to know when it happens and you want notifications, hit subscribe. If you don't care, don't. Right, this is the A3 open category, the C0 aircraft. Okay, what are they? What is the limitations on C0 aircraft? Well, basically, C0 aircraft is anything under 250 grams. The Tello, the Mavic Mini. Okay, so these fit in the C0 classification that's coming 2021. Now, what does it mean? What do you have to do? What do you have to do? What is the minimum legal requirements to fly these two aircraft? Right, so anything less than 250 grams is considered a toy. Okay, what you have to do though, if you've got a camera and you can capture data, okay, you're going to have to pay the £9 operator fee. Okay, you have to do it because it can capture data. You know, it can capture an image of someone, so you're going to have to pay £9. You are then going to have to take the new flyer ID test, or take the flyer ID test. The current one you may have taken is valid for 3 years, the new one is valid for 5 years, and it tests you on the new rules. Okay, so you have to pay £9 and have the flyer ID. Okay, and that's kind of it. The rules are, you know, you cannot overfly a group of people, so if there's an event on, you can't just send your aircraft hurtling over it, you can't do that. But you could fly this in your back garden. Okay, so it has to have a maximum speed of, I believe, of no more than 19 meters a second or so, somewhere about there. Please check. It's too much to remember. Now, and the other bit is it can go no more than 400 feet up from where you are. Remember that you've got to keep visual line of sight, so you've got to be able to see it. So this won't be going out to 500 metres, because anyone that says they can see this at 500 metres, I'm going to say you're lying. Or no, actually I'll take that back. No, or you've had a cybernetic implant into your eye that allows you to see a lot further. I've not seen that technology yet, but you never know. So this little fella, okay, although the new one and this one can go a lot further than beyond, they can go beyond visual line of sight if you like, you must keep it within line of sight, okay? And that's really it. To be honest, you can fly this in your back garden. You can fly the Tello in your back garden. All you have to do is pay your £9 and have a flyer ID, okay? So you have to put your operator ID on it. See my operator ID video for that. Then you've got your flyer ID, put your operator ID. Mine's in here. I put mine in my battery compartment. It's just out of the way. It's easy on the Mini because not a lot of space. And that is, so far, the C0, less than 250 grams, is a toy. You could fly in your back garden and you could do a roof inspection on your back garden. You do not need to take the A2 CofC for a drone that's less than 250 grams, okay? And you don't technically have to have insurance, bizarrely, although if you're working commercially, you must have insurance. Okay, so here's the subtle difference. Hobby flying, no legal requirement on insurance. Commercial use, even at 250 grams, you're going to want insurance. Okay, so just bear that in mind, okay, because the insurers yet will see which way they jump, because if one jumps, they all jump. So we're just going to wait and see on that, okay. But there you go, that's the C0, okay. Now, shall we see what fits into the C1 category and what you can do with the C1 transitional aircraft, okay. Right, back in a sec. Right, should we now go a little bit more? So we have the A3 open category, okay. Now, all aircraft fit in this anyway, okay. Doesn't matter if I'm flying my Phantom 4 Pro, my model planes or anything. The open category, okay, basically means you have to fly 150 metres away from a residential, commercial, industrial area. That's basically the open category, okay? So that's simple to understand. It is like it is now, everything far from residential area. Now, there is a subcategory, okay, to the A3. And these subcategories, you can use aircraft in a certain way, providing you do something, okay? So this is only possible if you take your A2 CofC, okay? And it's only possible if you've taken it. If you haven't taken it, the following won't be possible. So, very important, do your A2 CofC, okay? And let's see what we can really do, okay? So we take our A2 CofC, right? Now, there are subcategories. Okay, so the first subcategory is the A1 subcategory. Okay, A1. Now, this is where the C1 aircraft, okay, and the transitional C1 aircraft fit. Okay, so C1 aircraft must be 900 grams or less. Okay, so, and there must be C1 marked. If it hasn't got C1 marked aircraft, you cannot use an aircraft that weighs more than 500 grams. So very important, okay, with C1, the transitional weight limit is 500 grams or less. Okay, so it's 500 grams or less. And this is the A1, so C1 transitional aircraft. The CIA has this thing where the policy team gets held up a lot on what they can and cannot do. Spend a lot of time on phone and answering emails. Because the rules now are complicated. Anyone following this? Right, so basically sub 500 gram drones, okay? The important bit here is the sub 500 grams is no overflight of uninvolved people, okay? So the important bit is no uninvolved flight over a person, okay? That's it, there's no horizontal separation. You're literally, you can fly just there, okay? And that's fine. As long as you don't go over them, that's when you're breaking the rule. Now, it doesn't matter if they're in a house, they're in a car, a ship, or anything. You cannot do horizontal overflight of uninvolved people. It's that simple. Okay, that's a very simple rule to follow. Basically, don't overfly anyone. Okay. Now, there's no horizontal separation or anything like that, just don't overfly. So the roof inspection on this terraced house in the middle, you could literally go to the back garden here, okay? You could take out your drone as long as it's sub 500 grams and you have your A2 CofC, so this little fella. I could then take off, I can fly up, take all the photos I want of the roof, come down and land. I could even do the gutter inspection. As long as I'm not overflying the people that these houses, because there could be a person in this room, you can't prove there is and you can't prove there wasn't, but they would have to somehow prove that you were breaking it, the rule and overflying, okay? And that's fine. Now, this is where my niggle comes in with remote ID, by the way, because if it's a bolt-on third-party thing and you're flying here and the remote ID's GPS puts you 4 metres over this house, that's why I don't like remote ID for law enforcement. There's too much space there. See my video on it, I go on a rant, I don't want to. So, you can do roof inspection with an A1, under the A1 transitional weight less than 500 grams. What's less than 500 grams? So your Parrot-a-Naffy, sub 500 grams. Mavic Air version 1, sub 500 grams. The Mavic Air 2 is not, so therefore it's in another category, okay? So the Mavic Air 2 is not sub 500 grams. is in the next category. We've got the DJI Spark, got the Mini. These aircraft that are in that weight class, these just became a great tool, okay? Now, there is one other bit as well. So here's you flying your drone, okay? Now, remember, no overflight of uninvolved people, so you would have to think where you could do this. So you could be, let's give you a scenario. So here's a nice big hill here, okay? Let's say you want to cycle down the hill, so you're a mountain bike enthusiast. So you can start at the top on your little push bike and you're going to go all the way down the hill. But you want the drone to be able to follow you. Well, if your drone has a follow me mode, you can do that. As you're going down here, what you do is you set your drone up here, okay, to follow you. You can then have it follow you down the hill, and it'll just do it in follow me mode. The important bit is, if you're going to use follow me mode, the drone itself must always remain within 50 meters of you, the pilot. This is the important bit. So the drone has to be within 50 meters at all times of you, okay? Not the surface, but of you, okay? So the remote operator. And that is what you can do, okay, with a A2 CofC and an A1 Transitional Aircraft sub 500 grams. Hopefully that makes sense to everyone. Okay, but you must have your A2 CofC, and that is basically what you can do. No horizontal separation, just no overflight. Okay, 50 meters, follow me. Okay, and the best drone that I can see in this weight class at the minute is the Parrot Anafi, because it's got zoom, it's got zoom 4K, shoots in RAW, 20 megapixel camera. So the Parrot Anafi at the minute is the biggest winner in this category. Okay, I know we all like DJI because it just works. So DJI aircraft, the DJI Mavic Air version 1 is probably the next best aircraft in that category. Okay, and they are now discontinued. But if you can get hold of one, I would say they are probably the top aircraft to have. Okay, someone's going to tell me the Mavic Mini 2 is better. Well, if it is, then go and buy that instead. But if you want to be able to fly it commercially, you're probably going to want your A2 CofC so you can get your insurance and everything else. Okay, just think about what could and could not go wrong. Remember, hobby insurance won't cover you if you do an insurance job. If you're doing a job work-wise, your insurance hobby-wise won't cover you if this was to fall and hit someone's car or something else. It doesn't cover you. Okay, so just bear that in mind. Right, that's the A1 C1 Transitional Aircraft sub 500 grams. Okay, right. Shall we now look and see where all other aircraft fit, or maybe they don't? Right, let's do the A2 subcategory next. Right then, let's do the A2 subcategory for C2 aircraft. Now, when they eventually get here, because there are none yet, okay, doesn't matter, at the moment there's no C2 marked aircraft, okay, very, very important. However, we'll look at the subcategory and what you can do with transitional aircraft and what you will be able to do when the C2 aircraft do appear. Okay, so in the C2 subcategory, the maximum flying weight of the drone may be 4 kilos. Okay, so in the A2, the subcategory, up to 4 kilos maximum weight. Okay, that's important. That's quite a good weight actually, but up to 4 kilos. Now, at the moment, we don't have any aircraft that meet the C2 requirements, and the current C2 requirements then is not here. So what they've done is they've gone right. So anything between 500 grams to 2 kilos can be a transitional aircraft. So they have given us a nice little area there of 1.5 kilos. They've basically gone for the half weight. They said anything that's half the weight, down to 500 grams, these aircraft will have to do just one thing. It's very simple, very, very simple indeed. It just means that your drone, when it's flying, okay, your drone here, right, has to keep horizontal. Now this is the important bit as well. Now if you remember in the C1 transitional aircraft, they had no horizontal separation. They could literally fly right next to someone or right next to someone's house, okay? This is now different. It's all about horizontal. So this is where it all comes in. If you remember, we used to have the bubble, okay? That's gone. This is now about horizontal. In this subcategory, it's about horizontal separation. You have to remain 50 metres, okay, from anyone that is not involved in the flight. All uninvolved people, if they're in a car, a boat, any kind of house or a building, a shop, on a public footpath, a car comes down the road, it cannot be within 50 metres of your drone, okay? It's a big cylinder around your aircraft. Let me just take that out, it's high, it's got nothing to do with it. So, it's just, yeah, it's a big cylinder around your aircraft all the time. And it's a vertical cylinder, don't think of it as anything else. So as your drone flies, you're in the middle of this moving cylinder, okay? And uninvolved people can't enter it, okay? So, doing a roof inspection, example, for here, in a terraced house, is going to be a nightmare, okay? So, let me explain why. Right, if you don't quite, because some people don't quite get it at times, you could be in the back garden of this house here, okay? What about all the other houses that are over here, and there'll be a road, there might be a road, or it might be back garden to back garden, it doesn't matter. So it could be back gardens to back gardens, and there's a road here, and then there'll be a road behind here, and then there's going to be other houses over here, and here, etc. You have to control all that area. Just to go up and do a roof inspection, okay, that is a massive area to control, because you've got to control 100 metres. Even if, sorry, you've got to control, yeah, either side of the aircraft will be 100 metres, and this way and that way. If you said every house was 10 metres wide, you're going to have to go 5 houses that way, 5 houses that way, 5 houses that way, and 5 houses that way, just to control it all, okay, because it's 50 metres separation. So, all aircraft that fit in that is anything above 500 grams. So, the Phantom 4s, 3s, 2s, all your Phantoms, these fit in to this category, okay? In 2 years' time, when the transition period ends, this is relegated to 150 metres, no matter what, okay? It doesn't matter, because there is a transition period, and when the transition period ends, okay, which I believe is, now I'm going to say 2 years' time, but I think it might only be 18 months. I think it's July 2022. Could be wrong. I need to check that, don't I? Hopefully something will appear at the bottom here with the transition period end date. We'll see. So, and this is only for a limited time. So, your Mavic Air 2, your Phantoms, all your Mavics, apart from the Mavic Mini. What else is there? I'm just trying to think what else fits in the 2 kilos ones. There's very, very few aircraft that fit in the 500 to 2 kilos. If you've got an Inspire 1 or an Inspire 2, Those two aircraft are 150 metres, okay? They don't fit in this category. They have to fit into the Open 3 category. 150 metres from congested built-up areas, residential, whatever you want to call it. It's 150 metres away, okay? That's it. So, now, what is good about eventually, right, so let's just get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this, we get rid of this, I've made a mess, I've made a mess, Right, so, the important bit is the one-to-one rule. So, when the C2 aircraft do appear, okay, so when they do actually appear and someone makes one and goes, oh, here's our C2 aircraft. It must have, get rid of that, we're no longer talking about transitional. This is now about a proper C2 marked aircraft, okay? The one-to-one rule will apply. The aircraft must have a slow speed mode. So you've got to have slow speed mode. It has to be user selectable. Interesting. So you've got to have a switch that you can flick. Okay. Slow speed mode will mean that your aircraft can do about 6.7 miles per hour, and that's it. It can only go slow. Okay. It's a little bit faster than my walking speed. Okay. So one-to-one rule. What is the one-to-run rule? Dead easy. Okay, here's your drone here. Okay, if you are 10 meters high, so if you're 10 meters high, okay, you must be 10 meters horizontal separation again. So the cylinder will apply. So top-down view now. Top-down view. Right, top-down view. Here's your drone in the centre. Okay. So it must be 10 metres high, so you're 10 metres high, it means it has to be 10 metres in all directions as you travel this way. So you're travelling in this cylinder all the time, okay? As you travel, that cylinder will be the height or separational distance from uninvolved people. So all the uninvolved people can be here, 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 as you fly along. Remember, top-down view, you're looking down from above. You can't have an uninvolved person within your 10 metres radius. So if someone comes here, okay, and they breach it, that would be a no. Okay? Now, typical house, let's say a house is 10 metres tall to make life easy. It means you might have to control this house and this house, but you don't have to go knocking 5 doors either way anymore and worrying about the road maybe. The road, if you're doing the back of the roof, won't be a problem. If you want to do the front of the roof and there is not much of a garden, example, my house, my front garden's I think about 4 metres deep. You know, it will mean that if a car came along the road, I'll be breaching the rules. Okay, this is where remote ID yet again could screw you over, because someone could just look at it and go, well, they're flying over a road, therefore they're breaching the rules, and just give you a fine. Where the reality is, if there's nothing underneath you, you didn't breach any rule. This is why I don't like remote ID for law enforcement. It is flawed in so many ways. Anyway. So yeah, and this is the important bit. Slow mode selected. Now, when do you select slow speed mode? You select it when you're down to 30, when you get to 30 metres and less. So less than 30 metres, you'll select your slow speed mode. You can come down to 10 metres and then you can just fly slowly along. Remember, you're only flying at 6.7 miles per hour. Okay? So it's not going to give you any really good dynamic shots. In some ways, for film production, it's probably, it gives you movement, but it won't, you know, if you have to chase a car, it's not ideal. Okay? So the OSC stuff wins. OSC for a Phantom 4 Pro wins, for example. Okay? Yeah, so that's your C2 marked aircraft. Okay? And that's what you can do with an A2 CofC. When the transition period ends, be it a C1 transitional aircraft or a C2 transitional aircraft, or you've got even today an Inspire. In about a month with an Inspire 1, it has to be 150 metres away, okay? Unless you've, well, same rules as now really, to be honest on that, horizontal separation as well. However, if you've got a PFCO or GBC, the rules are different, they're covered elsewhere, so you have to go and find the video for that. It's there somewhere. But hopefully this explains the A2 subcategory. Again, you have to do your flyer ID, you have to be an operator, and you must have your A2 CofC. There's some great deals at the minute, okay? Shop around, we're in lockdown. You know, I would recommend, there's lots of RAEs are now, I think there's 24 of them. There's still quite a few that have not come across yet. They're running out of time, to be honest. So yeah, and interestingly, you know, the rules shouldn't be complicated. They should never be complicated with the rules. I would say the rules now that we're getting are even more complicated than what we've had for a long time. There is no A2 CofC flight test, by the way. I think some insurers would like it. And those that do, if you've done your PFCO, use that as proof of doing a flight test. Okay. Hopefully they'll accept BMFA as well, who knows. But yeah, there we go. That's what you can do, all in that. And they all fit under the A3 open category, but the A2 subcategory, to take full advantage of it, you must have your A2 CofC. Okay? And just, like I say, there's plenty of RAEs out there. I'm not going to push you to go up to any single one. They all do a cracking job, okay? And so therefore, you know, go for it. There are deals to be had, okay? I would say come to Sky, but it's entirely up to you, okay? So there you go. Yeah, have fun and safe flying. And remember, before I go actually, lockdown is the ideal time, if you can afford it, to do your A2 CofC. Okay, I recommend getting it done now. It comes in December. I wouldn't leave it to like December to do it. I will get it done before then. Okay, if you're interested, and if you're looking at a drone business, starting one, see my videos on that as well. Okay, right, that is it. That I'm going now. So take care, safe flying everyone. Take care and stay safe. Subscribe or not, it's your choice. Subscribe, not subscribe, whatever. Remember, I do not upload videos like every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday, or any of that. I just shoot a video and then I will upload it. If you want to know when it happens and you want notifications, hit subscribe. If you don't care, don't.